Welcome to Next Level Play Therapy, a weekly podcast dedicated to supporting the next generation of child and adolescent therapists to provide exceptional play therapy services. We'll explore all things play therapy to elevate your work with children and adolescents using the therapeutic powers of play. I'll discuss practical tips and ideas so you can provide a transformative experience for your young clients and make a real difference in their lives. So get ready to take your play therapy skills to the next level and make a lasting impact in the lives of children, adolescents, and families. Alrighty, well, welcome to this week's episode of Next Level Play Therapy. Today, I want to talk about something that I think doesn't get talked about very much in the play therapy community, and that is actually being part of community. I feel like we say in the mental health space that consultation is good, and I'm one of those people too. Like, I'm talking to myself as well. I feel like we talk about getting consultation and being part of having others in our mental health field, in our specific area of expertise. And so we talk about it and then we don't often do it. And I think sometimes that's because people don't know where. Like, where can I get support? Where can I get that community? And I think other times we think we don't need it because we're experienced, or we honestly don't want to look bad in front of other people. And one of the things that I have heard over and over and over and over several years back now, and since I started my I don't want to say signature, but I'll just say Play Therapy Academy, which is my higher level consultation program. And then now that I've started Play Therapy Elevation Circle, which is more my community and consultation program available to more people, just by the very nature of it, I can open it up and allow that benefit of connecting with other play therapists, because I feel like that was missing in our community. But one of the things that I hear all the time is I'm the only play therapist in my agency, or I'm in private practice, and I'm the only play therapist in the group of offices, that office suite where I am. Or maybe I have a private practice and I have one or two other play therapy or expressive arts, because play therapy is one type of expressive art. Or maybe I'm in a group of a variety of expressive arts mental health professionals, and no one gets play therapy. And what I hear a lot, I mean, have you ever had this happen, right? You've had a rough week, and I've had this happen. I remember a few times when I had a play therapy session and I was in private practice. I went through licensing. I had my supervision then. I did my play therapy credentialing process, and I had my supervisor then. And now I'm out on my own and I have nobody. And I had a session. Actually, there were a couple of incidents, but there's one session in particular that freaked me out. And the whole time in the session, I'm thinking to myself, just stay calm, just stay calm, just stay calm. It'll be okay. Just be fully present in the moment. Set some limits where you need to set some limits. But after the session was over and I delivered the child safely to their parent, and they were the last client of the day, I thought to myself, oh my God, 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 what just happened? What just happened? And I desperately needed another play therapist to get it, who would get it to help me unpack what had just happened. And fortunately, I did have a friend that I called and she helped me. And we kind of unpacked it together, which was nice. But what it highlighted for me is we can't do this alone. It's just not we're not in a profession that we can do alone. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we work with human beings and we're a human being. And there are, when we show up, that therapeutic use of self, where I therapeutically bring all of my professional self into the play therapy community or into the play therapy session, that's exhausting. Do that day after day, session, client after client after client after client after client, day after day after day after day. I am a firm believer that as play therapists, we need to have a space where we can unpack things, where we can be vulnerable and share our fears, risk looking like the fool that we think we're going to look like, and we're probably not going to look like. A place where if we're having like, oh my gosh, is that an ethics issue? What do I need to do about that? A place where there are others who understand play therapy and that we can get some help unpacking that. So that is what we are talking about today, because I also am a firm believer that burnout is an ethics issue. I kind of have this conversation a lot lately, and I think we don't talk about that either, burnout as an ethics issue. And I had this was like probably a year ago, and something happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had a fire lit under my little behind, and I was looking for data. So I went into the professional university library and I went down the rabbit trail, and lo and behold, I was right. So I think it's not something we talk about, burnout. And I don't mean to say that in a shaming way, because I really believe agencies and organizations, if you work in an organization or if you work in an agency, I really believe that we need to create an environment that supports our therapists and reduces impact, while also making sure that we keep up with the requirements of documentation and doing the psychosocial and all of those things. It's a balancing thing. And so I think as play therapists, with play therapy and play therapy documentation and working with children, and how do you handle and manage parents? What do you do in these situations? I believe there's an ethics part of burnout as well, where we need to support each other. And what exactly is that gonna look like? It doesn't mean don't do your documentation. It means, that's my other pet peeve. It means, how are we managing our schedules? How are we managing our caseloads? How are we connecting with others and getting support? Because I believe, especially as I have witnessed what has happened in Play Therapy Academy, and now that I've started Play Therapy Elevation Circle, we're witnessing that as well. I think community is part of the self-care that we do. I think self-care is other things as well, for sure. Like getting out into nature for me is my self-care. Being with my family grounds me. I need my family time. I'm kind of a homebody, but I do like to travel, but I need my people. I think all of these things are important. And that's what today we are going to talk about is being connected, being supported, not being a lone play therapist. What are your options and what are the benefits of getting support? So that's what we're talking about today, which is it looks like okay. Sorry, I'm looking at my StreamYard and I'm like, oh, all my banners are wrong. So we won't have banners today. For those of you on LinkedIn, for those of you on Instagram, you don't get them, so you won't know what I'm talking about. All righty. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the problem with working alone as a play therapist. So how many times, raise your virtual hand, or for those of you watching the replay, or those of you listening to the podcast episode, if you're listening to the podcast, send me a DM, man. If you're watching the replay, post in the comments. So how many of you have ever had this happen? Raise your virtual hand. You are in your office, your client, you guys are having just a rambunctious play therapy session, and it's amazing and awesome, and your client is getting it done, accessing those therapeutic powers of play, and the session is over, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, that was so awesome. My client worked through so many awesome things. And then you're in your office cleaning up, getting ready for the next one. Or maybe at the end of the day, one of your suite mates comes up to you, or another person kind of around your office comes up to you and says, hey, you guys are too loud. Can you just keep it down in there? You're really interfering with my sessions. And they're an adult therapist, so they don't get it. And I mean, I get it. It can be loud. And if you're, it can be hard trying to juggle being with in a office suite with just other individual therapists around. I mean, that it's legitimate. And at the same time, if, you're not going to interfere with what your client is doing. Oh my gosh, I just lost connections. I don't know what is going on with LinkedIn today. I keep losing connection. So I know my virtual assistant Brill is watching. So Brill, will you just post the replay on LinkedIn? Because I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn today. So those of you watching on YouTube and Instagram will get the live version. All righty. So, I mean, how many of you have had that happen in your offices? Or maybe you've had a tough thing go on and you don't have anybody to talk to in your agency, and you kind of feel like you're the lone person in your agency and you don't have anybody to talk to about play therapy or get support, and you're just trying to muddle through and do the best that you can to get it done. Or maybe you're a seasoned play therapist and you've been doing for a while, so you're pretty comfortable. And I mean, we all have those cases where we struggle with them and it can be challenging. So this, to me, when you're struggling with a client or when you're trying to figure out the best strategies, or maybe you worry that it's not working, or how many of you get the frantic phone calls or texts or emails between sessions from parents who are saying it's not working, and you feel that pressure to make everything better. And so then you kind of start feeling a little overwhelmed and anxious yourself, and then go down that rabbit hole of looking on the internet for ideas and resources, and maybe filling up your Amazon cart with books with play therapy activities, because now you feel kind of frantic to get this fixed because parents are telling you it's not working, and you think to yourself, well, I want to prove to them that play therapy does work, so I have to figure out how to fix this. And so then you kind of go through and start kind of using play therapy activities, hoping something is going to stick eventually. To me, if you have a play therapy community and you have a place where you can get consultation, then one of the things that we do in Play Therapy Elevation Circle, and we also do in Play Therapy Academy, one of the things that we do is we will go step by step through case conceptualization. We'll look at your play therapy model. We'll look at a lot of different factors of what's going on. We'll look at how your play therapy model explains the problem. And then from there, we figure out what to do. And to me, and then you not only have my almost 35 years of experience, you have the collective wisdom of the people in the group, and the power of community that I have seen over and over and over is that even so you have seasoned people. Again, Elevation Circle, we have seasoned people, new people, medium experienced people. We have a variety of levels. And for those of you who are new to the profession, I think you often underestimate what you do know intuitively. And then the seasoned people, we need help too. And when you see all of that work together in the community, where you get the support, one, you have other people who get it. Like, I can't tell you how often one person has been staffing their case and talking about what's going on, and then another person will say, I have that same thing going on, only it looks a little bit this way, or I had that problem and here's how we worked through it, and it actually did work. So we kind of encourage each other. We give each other support. You realize you're not the only one. You realize you have more experience and wisdom and insight than you think you do. So your confidence grows, your skills grow, and using community, you don't get as burned out. You have a place where you can get support. Like, I remember way, way, way back in the day when I was just getting started in private practice, and I was kind of struggling, and I wanted my community of support. So I connected with some other therapists. They were adult therapists though, because I was the only play therapist I knew in my community. There was one other play therapist, but she moved back to her town because she was commuting over to my town. She wanted to be closer to home. So I was the only play therapist in my whole entire community, and I lived outside Washington, D.C. So it's not like it was more where I am now in Southern Nevada, more rural. There were a lot of people around. I think at the time there were 450 people in the county I lived. I would say probably half of that was in the community where I live, probably 200 people. So I was the only play therapist back in the day. And so for me, some support was better than no support. And they were awesome. I loved these ladies. We got together. They helped me grow in business and looking at things a different way. but they couldn't help me with play therapy. So, and they were really supportive though. But when it came to play therapy ideas and applying a play therapy model, that was not getting it done. Um, so I kind of muddled that way a little bit without that kind of support. And to me, that kind of highlighted the importance of having a play therapy community, a community of play therapists who get it and understand it. And so that was really helpful. And now I see that in the communities that Play Therapy Academy and Play Therapy Elevation Circle, that's what we do in there, support each other. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm also going to talk to you about a free webinar that I have coming up in a couple of weeks in case you're interested in that. So you'll want to stay tuned to the end. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. So how can community help you be a better play therapist? So here's the thing. When you have a community of play therapists, then you have access to people who are also reading books, who are also looking at research, who are also taking trainings, and they may have a specific play therapy model that they're learning how to apply. And so you have and they all have kind of their unique way of looking at things and their unique kind of gifts and talents that they bring to the group. And so what I've seen over and over, and I love this part of the community, which is we'll be staffing a case. I'll be giving my insights. I'll kind of help people. One of the things I'm really good at doing is like breaking things down, going kind of step by step. Let's look at it in a systematic way and then bring it all together and put a little attachment and humanness in there so that we use that connection as well, that therapeutic relationship. And when we have a community, what ends up happening is then somebody else will share some insights and looking at it slightly different way. And another person may say, hey, I've tried it this strategy and it worked really well with my client who sounds very similar to your client. So you get more of a 360 degree support. And it's not just you trying to figure it out. That to me sometimes is where the burnout can come from. You're kind of exhausted seeing client after client after client after client each day. You're taking those phone calls from frantic parents or getting the emails in between. And then you don't have a place to unpack all of that. And so it can feel heavy and draining. And one of the things I hear all the time in Play Therapy Academy and Elevation Circle is how much people feel refreshed and rejuvenated after they've had that place to unpack and unload and share some of what's going on. Makes a huge difference. I think it also makes a huge difference in the quality of play therapy services that you bring. I mean, doctors will go and they'll do grand rounds, right? They'll take their group of people and go case by case by case and get a lot of different perspectives so that they can really provide support for their patients. I think in mental health, that's an important thing too, where we have the ability to do that. And in some settings, if you're alone, it's hard to do that if you're the only play therapist. So I think the other thing is the benefit is when you feel like you have a safe and supportive space to do that, all of those nagging worries in the back of your head that are saying you're a failure, you're not doing a good job, These parents are going to find out you're an imposter and a fraud any day now. Or, oh my gosh, I'm not doing a good job. I'm failing my client. Then you end up feeling like you're failing yourself and you're not sure what to do. And you start feeling stuck and overwhelmed. When you feel like you have a place to come where there are other play therapists and you feel like you can be honest and share your vulnerabilities, share your fears, that's when things begin to turn. I mean, we know this as play therapists. We know this as mental health people. When our clients don't come in, when they come in and they're not really being honest with us and they're holding things back because they're ashamed or fearful or, their trauma triggers are up, then their walls are up. We know they make progress when they can feel safe and begin to open up. And we need that as play therapists, where you have a place where you can feel safe and open up and bring your concerns so that you can get feedback and ideas and support. And then you actually then feel rejuvenated to go back out and do these things and feel like you have a plan to help your clients, and you know where you may need to set some boundaries, or you may need to you got ideas or feedback about applying your play therapy model more effectively where you might have been getting stuck. But you also get people telling you that you're doing well, like reinforcing that you're not doing as terrible a job as you think you're doing. But the other thing is, and I kind of mentioned this already, which is you can stay up to date. There's no way that you can possibly know everything. I've been doing this almost 35 years. And there was a time where I thought, oh, I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to stay up to date on everything. I'm going to do all the things. And then at some point I realized there's no way. There's just too much information out there. And there are not enough days. And yes, I have to get some self-care in. So the thing about being part of a community is you have access to their brains. You have access to what they've tried. You have access to the trainings that they've gone to, the books they've gone to, the resources they have available. There may be specific niches, like maybe somebody is more specialized in neurodiversity. Maybe another person is more specialized in trauma, or another person may be more specialized in anxiety or suicide, or maybe somebody's more specialized in maybe Adlerian play therapy and another person more specialized in another, like maybe integrative play therapy modality, or maybe EMDR, or maybe somatic experiencing or IFS, all the things. So when you have a community and they're reading research studies and books, when you have a community, then you have access to all their brains, and as you're staffing cases, or also when they're staffing cases, you're learning from what they're doing. You're learning from the feedback that they get. So I think the growth kind of is exponentially fast-tracked when you have that kind of community consultation where you get all those different brains coming together in one meeting and sharing ideas and inspiring each other and learning from each other and kind of growing together in that safe space. So those are ways in which being part of a community can actually help you be a better play therapist. And then the third thing is there are some drawbacks. So I feel like wouldn't totally be addressing all of the things about burnout and support and community if we didn't really talk about some of the drawbacks to being part of a community. One of those, it does require an investment of time. It does sometimes, like in Play Therapy Academy, that's my higher level, more intense, small group, really limited number of people in that one. There is a cost. At Play Therapy Elevation Circle, there's a cost to that one. It's way, way, way less expensive because I want to make this one more accessible to people. There's a cost, but think about it this way. How much time do you spend on the internet researching ideas or activities, or going through Amazon, or purchasing books for activities or ideas, or going on YouTube and finding all the videos, or going on Pinterest, or going into Etsy? How much time do you spend doing all of that? Whereas if you had like a dedicated time, an hour and a half once a month, where you know that's your dedicated time, that you can get all of the ideas, it probably equals out. And I think when you're part of a community, then it can be even more effective, though, more time efficient. I always say work smarter, not harder. Where if you have a community, then you have a dedicated space. In Play Therapy Elevation Circle, we also have a community feature. So in that, and that's true also in Play Therapy Academy, because I feel like in between meetings, it'd be nice to have a place to, ask for help. Hey, anybody have these kind of resources or any ideas? I'm feeling a little stuck. Or, hey, I just really had a bad day. Here's what happened. And we all get on there and do little heart emojis, in awe. We hear you. So if you have that dedicated space, then to me, it kind of balances out. I think the question then becomes, do you see the value of being part of a community? Do you see that value of not doing it alone? Which brings me to the next kind of drawback is you have to be willing to risk, meaning you have to be willing to risk opening up, to share your vulnerabilities, to be honest about your fears. That can be scary and overwhelming, because you don't want to look like the fool. You don't want to look like the only one who doesn't know, right? That's why we don't raise our hand in class. We don't want to look like the only one who doesn't know. But the thing is, if you have a community that is safe, where you feel like you can risk that vulnerability and ask the questions, then you are going to grow so much more. It's those areas where we try to keep hidden away and pretend they're not there, where we try to pretend we have it all together. I mean, sometimes we have to do that, but we still need a space where we can go and say, oh my gosh, I'm so struggling. Putting that facade up day after day of trying to put that like mask up of I've got it all together, I know everything, while on the inside we're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Like me, when I had that session, it kind of freaked me out. That was so hard to hold all of that because it was so heavy. And so being able to work that through with my friend and having her help me navigate and figure it out, lighten the load. Plus, I did a better job when I was able to risk looking like the fool. I trusted my friend though, so I knew she wouldn't judge me. But also when I was in a community, like a consultation group with some from adult therapists this is several decades ago. I had to risk opening up, and I had to be able to receive their feedback, which was, some of the feedback was pretty direct, like, girl, you got to get over that. They didn't say it that way, but kind of. And I needed it, but I trusted them. I knew they cared about me, and I knew they weren't going to judge me. So I was able to do that. So yes, you might risk looking like you are the only one at the table who doesn't know anything. And the likelihood you are the only one at the table who doesn't know anything or who has ever experienced the thing that you think nobody else has experienced, the likelihood that is true is very, very, very slim. And so being part of a community can actually help you grow in that area. And then the third thing might be, I mean, the drawback might be, for if you're a seasoned play therapist, you have a lot of knowledge, you have a lot of skills. Like what would being part of a community do to help you, right? You know all the things. So wouldn't it be one more thing you add to your cart, one more thing that you feel like you have to do? I don't think so. Not if you get into a group that you kind of align with, because I feel like even now I still get ideas. Play therapy elevation circle, when we staff cases in there, I get ideas. And play therapy academy, we were staffing something and somebody came up with this. Their play therapy model aligned a lot with the model that I use. And so she shared this activity and why. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I totally need that. And I could use that with this and this and this. So even as a seasoned play therapist, sometimes it's heavy, it's hard. Sometimes we need a place to go. So that kind of, in my mind, helps get some feedback. I feel like we all need feedback. Nobody ever does it perfectly all the time, no matter how seasoned you are in the field. So that is it for today. Let me do a quick recap before we end. So today we talked about the importance of community and the power of community. And so what often I find is, for play therapists, you often feel like you're the only play therapist in your community, or maybe you are the only play therapist in your community, or maybe you are the only play therapist in your agency. So who do you have to go to staff ideas and staff cases, especially the tough cases, the draining cases? Who do you have that you can go to? Because you can feel stuck, overwhelmed, and drained, and then that can lead to feeling burned out. The second thing is, how does community make you feel? Like, how does it help you become a better play therapist? Well, you have access to everybody else's brain in the group with all their training, all their ideas. Plus, you can look at the situation from like a 360 viewpoint, from a lot of different angles, and help to figure out what might be going on, and then get ideas and strategies to help your client move forward. And then the third thing is some of the costs of being part of a community, some of the drawbacks. Those are legitimate for sure, and you do need to consider those, like the time and the cost of being in a community. But the thing that I think about is, if you have a community where you feel safe, then you're going to be willing to open up and feel like you can talk about what's going on and be honest. And you can talk about, hey, this is going on in my personal life. It's so draining. How do I manage all of this? Sometimes we can just like be the support for, just because you're a play therapist doesn't mean you don't have your own life things going on. Right? We can be there for each other. So it helps, one, you have a dedicated time each month where you know you're going to be able to get ideas, get feedback, so that you don't spend all that time researching on the internet or spending time going to buying more books. And I love books, so don't get me wrong, I love a good book. But sometimes we spend so much doing that, we miss the whole framework that we need in order to apply that. And that framework is really, really important. So that is it for today. So if you're interested, Play Therapy Elevation Circle I designed Play Therapy Elevation Circle so that I can so that I can provide a way for more people to get support, play therapists. So Play Therapy Elevation Circle is for play therapists who want some support, but they don't need like the intensive support that we do in Play Therapy Academy. That one's much smaller, more hands-on, but maybe you just need a place where you can get support, where you have community. The other thing in Play Therapy Elevation Circle that I am starting is a monthly book club. So we'll have the monthly consultation time where we do the 360 view. We get ideas, help you, get unstuck, connect with your people who get it. We're also going to do a monthly book club, which I'm so excited about. So taking a book that's focused on play therapy and unpacking it, and then how do we use that with our clients? Because that's the big thing, right? So if you're interested in Play Therapy Elevation Circle, registration is going to open, and I think it's going to open up the week of August 11th. It's going to be open a short period of time, and then it's going to close again. So if you're interested in learning more about Play Therapy Elevation Circle and getting notified when registration is opening up, then get on my wait list. It doesn't cost any money. You're not obligated. Just get more information, and you get to be the first to know when registration is open and finding out more about it. So if you're interested in getting on the wait list, we're going to drop a link in the comments, but you can also head over to my website at rhplaytherapytraining.com. Go on to the consultation page, and then you'll see information about Play Therapy Elevation Circle and where you can click to get on the wait list. It's also on the resources page, so you can go over there too. So there's a couple of places to sign up for the wait list, and we're going to put a link in the comments. For those of you watching on Instagram, you can go over to my bio. The other thing that I do have a webinar coming up, and what the webinar is going to do, it's a free webinar. It's 90 minutes. It's going to be August 11th in the evening if you're here in the US. What I'm going to do in the free webinar the webinar is called How to Provide Play Therapy Without Second Guessing Every Clinical Decision, Even Complex Cases. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the framework, where like the foundational kind of framework that will help you get good results. It's kind of the framework that we use in Play Therapy Elevation Circle as well. And also I use it in my higher level Play Therapy Academy program. So what's that framework? So I'm going to teach you that framework. And then we're also going to kind of use that power of community, do a case, have a case. We're going to kind of use that case study and break down all the steps and get ideas and do all the things that way. So if you're interested, it is a free webinar. You'll want to register for that soon. Registration just opened this week. The webinar is called How to Provide Play Therapy Without Second Guessing Every Clinical Decision, Even with Complex Cases. That's going to be August 11. So you'll want to pop over to my website and register for that one. You'll see it on the homepage, the registration. We're also going to put links in the comments. If you're watching on Instagram, then you can pop over to my bio. Alrighty. And for those of you listening to the podcast, just pop over to my website. All right. That is it for this week. And I will see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Next Level Play Therapy. I hope you found the discussion valuable and gained new insights and ideas to support your work helping children, adolescents, and families heal. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback helps to improve and reach more people who can benefit from this information. Remember, play therapy is a powerful tool for healing and growth. Whether you're a new play therapist or experienced, I encourage you to continue your learning journey to unlock the potential of play in your own work and relationships. If you have any questions or topic suggestions for future episodes, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on social media and visit my website at Renewing Hearts Play Therapy Training to stay updated on upcoming episodes, trainings, and resources. Thank you once again for listening to Next Level Play Therapy. Until next time, keep playing, learning, and growing.